This is my current canvas I'm working on. I went and prepped the shoe. This is a high top, so the shaft of the patcher arm tends to rub all up in here, and it messes up the sock liner. And sometimes, because I'm using a generic patcher, the sole, the heel of the sole tends to touch on the patcher and grease and everything. Again, I'm using a Chinese generic patcher. Some of the patchers have different shafts or arms, so I'm not fortunate enough to have one of those, but mine does the job. Anyway, I'm just going to show you a quick demonstration of how to do the vamp in case you haven't seen any videos or seen any of my videos or any video on YouTube. You're making a template, you want to get the fingernail and kind of like rub it against the edges of the vamp. I love this bag. It has so much going on. Look at that. I don't know if you're into graffiti, but it's really nice. So you want to find, I don't really know where I'm going to go with this, but I'm going to probably pick this pattern here. Now when you're cutting certain materials, this is a canvas. Get yourself a pair of good scissors. You don't want to use a cheap pair of scissors because your cuts are not going to come out, and then you're going to have all the... Now again, I was explaining about the materials, different material. This is not a leather, again, it's a canvas. So I'm going to use this on the edges. This is supposed to keep the threads from getting all weird and funky on you. I don't know if you ever worked with a woven fabric or canvas. When you pull the tape off, you're going to see the thread. So this kind of keeps it, the threads from getting all weird on you. I don't know if you can see the name there. This is using a, well, I'm trying to focus on here. Excuse me. So this is what I'm going to put around the edges there to keep the threads from getting all weird on me. Again, this is optional, but they use this a lot in sewing. I actually got this tip from one of the sewing groups that I attend. So I actually love this stuff. I used it one time before this, and it really made a difference. So you put it on the, the edges there where you're going to cut, and cut slightly outside the line there. It looks good so far. I'm going to be using this. Go back. Do it like that. Trying to get edges much, because those make sound on the Here's the part. I'm just trying to get it because we'll get the tape and get hard walking. This is where I'm going to play this. See what's trying to do. Now use that again. I don't know the name of it. The thing for the threads. Now, had I not used that, you would have seen this. You would have seen the threads. These little threads here. They would have definitely been showing more, because I have done customs where I didn't use that, and I mean, it was really bad. So that's just a little tip if you are using a certain type fabric, woven fabric, canvas. This stuff is awesome. even sometimes I get a paintbrush. If you do have a lot of it, maybe dip it inside the bar, just the tip of it. Maybe take a paintbrush and you know, maybe just snip it a little bit. Give it a little cut. And then, you know, you dip the tip of the brush in there. Just the tip, don't go nuts with it, and then you can just go outside. I mean, that's if you really have them and you can't do anything about them. As the glue starts to cure, it'll harden them up. But that's turning out pretty cool. I like that. So here's the vamp. I'm going to sew it. I'm not going to document this this process. I'm just going to show you how the tape is protecting the liner. Because of the machine that I have, you know, all this tends to rub, and when I get toward the front of the vamp, now we're back here and you got all this grease, because I keep my machine really lubed up and it performs like a champ like that. So again, I got tape here. I taped up the liner, and I'm going to sew up the vamp, and I'll show you how. I got my vamp sewed up. It was kind of difficult because the length of the shoe, well, it's pretty big size, and the height of the shoe was making it, you know, a low top, you're down here somewhere, so it was really difficult, and the tongue was rubbing. I should have removed the tongue before I even did the vamp. I cringe every time somebody brings me a pair of these because I know it's going to be hard getting in my machine. But yeah, we got the vamps done. There's really there was really no threading, no loose threads. I went and dipped my brush inside of my you see the name there. Now here's the tongue. If you ever if you're not familiar with assembling the shoe, the tongue and the liner are usually sewn together on these shoes. So this stitch that goes across right here, that is your oh well, gotta go back and push some of these threads. Can't even see the threads. I think that came out pretty decent. Anyway, we're going to remove the tongue. I'm using putting the seam ripper through that. I even came through here. This is what I'm saying. You got to be careful. I mean, the seam ripper has a little sharp point, so you can kind of, once you get the threads out, you can start. Just remove that stitch. Yeah, the seam ripper got it done. I didn't have to use the razor. Once you pull the thread out, I'm using my fabric scissors to get in there and cut the liner. So that's where it's sewn. So when you're using the seam ripper to remove this thread here, that's where it's sewn at. So that's basically the same way you're going to install it from underneath. I usually put a little glue. I'll show you later. And just stick it back in there and wait for it to cure. Yeah, that one was pretty tough removing the tongue. I hope the next one is not that difficult. The tongues, this is the way I do it. I cut the piece pretty big, not exactly the same size. I used the Gorilla Glue. I sprayed it on both surfaces, the tongue and the canvas. Then I joined them together, and so we kept the tag there because I want to sew it back. Now you can go around here if you got, you know, and follow the whole shape of the tongue. Unfortunately, I didn't leave enough material allowance here, so I'm not going to go that route. Remember, when you're cutting, don't cut exactly like against the line. You want to kind of have a little bit extra material so you could come back and glue that. See, this is what I say about getting fabric scissors. Had you used a different pair of scissors that are not designed for cutting fabric, you tend to get more of the loose threading that you see on some of these customs that I see. I mean, I'm not the best out there, but I kind of like having the work to look clean. And then we're going to fold this back down and we're going to re-sew it. I'm going to do the other one, and then we'll continue doing the rest of the shoe. So what I'm going to do on the patcher, I'm basically going to sew on this side and just follow this all the way around. It's easier to stay on track like that. So I'm not going to record that, but if you do this and you're like, this is your first time doing it, I think this is the easiest way to go out. Set your needle in and just, you know, go around. There's no way to mess up. There's already a thread there. You can follow that. You can do it from this side too, but I honestly find it to be a whole lot easier going from this way and just using this as your guide. So I'm going to sew those really quick. I don't have time to set up the camera and document it, but you see they're turning out really, really cool. These are going to be some one-of-a-kind kicks. Guaranteed nobody will have these. Here are the tongues. I sewed it from the opposite side like I told you. Just follow it all the way around. Pretty easy to do. There's no way to mess up. You got a guide there. Now if you wanted to put the trim on the outside, that's fairly easy to do, but again, I'm not doing it here. You want to put some cement on the outside and maybe get you a piece of material, leather or whatever, cut it in the length. Let's say you get a piece of leather. You cut it the length of the tongue going all the way around. You cement it here, and as you cement it on both the tongue in this area here, then you can, you know, press around and go all the way around. But I'm not doing all that. I'm just gonna take the easy way out because I got to get these shoes back to my friend. He needs them ASAP. So I'm just hitting the threads off a little bit. Threw the tags back on. They kind of didn't want to go on because extra material that was added. I'm going to use a seam ripper, and I usually start from here. You got to be extremely careful because the seam ripper, when you start pushing on it, it's going to come out the other side. You don't want to jam this in your finger, or even yet, you don't want to destroy the material. So just pry it in there a little bit. Try to okay, so here's where I'm at. I got the vamps done. I removed the tongues. Got those all ready to go. Pop the stitching. Use a seam ripper and a razor blade on both of them. And so I have to do the panels, and this is as far as I'm going today. I'm going to have to make this a two-part video. So if you want to see how the shoes turn out, you would have to watch the second part. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate all the new subscribers that I have. I'm trying to grow my channel and continue giving you my little bit of tips. I originally started this channel because when I first started, there's a bunch of videos showing shoes, how but there's really not too many guys explaining, you know, what to do, what not to do. So hopefully this video was useful, and again, I appreciate you guys joining my channel, and like and subscribe, share my channel, help me grow this channel so I can continue showing you some really cool tips to get your sneakers customized. Thank you.